Let's talk about the 6 career paths for developers. I'll share the pros and cons of each in terms of lifestyle, salary, and risk to reward ratio, so that hopefully it helps you choose the one that you're going with, or maybe you're looking to switch your career paths into something else, so that this video will help you to decide. So if you think about this as a spectrum, like on the most left you have the low risk, medium reward career paths, right? And on the most right side you have the high risk but also high reward career paths, and I'll be moving from left to right throughout this video. So on the most left you have the full-time on-site roles. These are things like for big tech companies, for example, that you're working, like for FANG companies or some local company that you're working with and you are working on-site. This is the most, I would say, let's say, safe. Although safe in your career, you would learn that safe doesn't really mean the company you're working with, but more your skills. If your skills are always sharp, then you are always safe. But let's just call this a safer approach, because here, if you are going to be either laid off, it will happen rare in this case compared to the other options. Because you're working on site, the company knows you, they see you always in the office, you're delivering work. If you're not delivering and your performance is not that good, they can adjust it, they can talk with you and tell you basically the expectations that they expect from you. So this is the most safe one. In terms of salary, it's still great, so you can get to 6 figures easily once you get to senior and way more. Some people are even working 6 figures when they are junior. It depends from what part of the world you are, of course. But in general, even if you're not in US or Canada, you can get to 6 figures way easier if you get to senior and you work on site for some company. So that's the first approach, I think the most common one. Now one step above that, not above that, like on the right side, you have the full-time but remote options. So this is like doesn't depend from your company. Maybe you live in some country where the salaries are lower, but you can land remote roles with Europe or US, and that will increase your salary, plus you will get the remote lifestyle to work from anywhere you prefer. It is less safe compared to the first option, because if they do layoffs, they will first usually lay off those who are working remotely, then they will get to the team that is working on site. So in that terms, that is it's more flexible, but less secure again in terms of career. But again, if your skills are always sharp, you shouldn't worry about that much. Then somewhere in the middle, a bit still on the left spectrum, is the contractor roles. This is the one actually I prefer over the last few years. This is where you basically get some company that's in between and it's landing projects and giving to you to work, and it's still fully remote, so you don't have any office to go to, or they have an office, but it's up to you if you want to work from office or from home or from wherever you want. And the good thing about this is they always have projects coming, and they are looking for developers who can do the roles. And they can even have a contract with you where you're working on 2 or 3 projects and getting double or triple of your salary. Now, the thing with this is that the contracts are usually, they have some deadline. For example, you sign a contract, it's for 6 months, then you can extend it for 3 months, let's say twice, but you know that someday it might end. So the thing there is that it forces you, that's why it also forced me to always keep my skills sharp, because I knew that a deadline is coming always. So I need to keep my skills sharp and be ready for interviews whenever the contract ends. Or I just took a second one, so that when the first project ends, I still have the second one going until they will find another one. Now with this, I managed to scale to 3 projects once, and it was a point where I was close to being burned out, because I was working on 3 projects, but still it was taking 10 to 12 hours per day to complete. And what I thought is I will just do this for 3 projects for 3 months. That will give me my 1 year salary if I worked on 1 project, and then I will basically take some 9 months off to recover or just relax and then come back to work. The thing with that, like another good thing is you will have the connections in these contractor companies, and it will be harder for you to be unemployed, because once I got off all the projects and decided to take some break, I couldn't even be unemployed for a month. Like after a month, the founder of one of the companies I was working for reached out with another project that they had, and they are always like getting these projects, and the thing with them is they don't have enough qualified talent to provide for the companies. So he suggested this project, and I still didn't want to get back to working. So what I told him is I decided to shoot some number that was like more than double of what I was earning from one project before. But he ended up saying yes to that because again, like they were searching for a developer for a long time, and they couldn't find anyone who could pass the interviews with this new client that they had. So that's another good thing with that, is that you will always have these founders from these companies that you worked with from the contractor roles, and they will always reach out to you whenever you're unemployed or whenever you don't have a project going. So that's the one in the like middle, a bit on the left side. Now a bit on this right side, now that is when you get to the like entrepreneurship route. The next one is freelancing. So freelancing, I think, is still closer to being an entrepreneur, not a developer, because you need other skills as well along with it to succeed. You need like sales skills, marketing skills to be able to find clients, close them, communicate with them. It takes more than just developing code or writing, architecting things or writing code. I'm not an expert from freelancing at all. I did just a couple of freelance projects throughout my career, but I'm definitely not an expert here to give you advice. What I can tell is the guys who are in my program, the ways that they are landing the freelance roles when they do, and also when is this a good fit for you. So I think freelancing is a good fit for two types of developers. So first one is the guys you can think of like who have nothing to lose, so they are either unemployed, like laid off, or they are just getting started. So freelancing can be a good way to get started and get some cash flow going until you will find your full-time role, right? So that's the one thing. And the other guy, the second category, is the complete opposite to that. So maybe you already are making multi-six figures and you're looking to get into like providing services for companies directly and become the freelancer. So that's another case where this might be useful for you. But other than that, I think for most people in the middle, most developers, they prefer to just work on projects and not to deal with clients or do marketing, do sales calls with them to try to find new clients over and over. The pro of this, again, is the flexibility of your hours that you can set, but the con is that it's not consistent. So you need to be searching for new clients over and over, maybe every month or every other month. And the way that you can find the freelance clients is like of course the popular ones like Upwork, Fiverr, TopTal, that you can register as a freelancer. But the way that the guys are landing in the program, they have way more efficient ways, which is just scraping the internet, finding the business owners' contacts or CEO contacts who don't have a website or who don't have softwares, or who you can provide some valuable softwares to, and reaching out to them directly. But again, I think less people are interested in this path, but still worth discussing because some of you might be interested in that. Now, the next step after that is the service provider. So this is still similar to freelancer, but this case you register a company, you create maybe some LLC that is providing these services for the companies, and you start delivering projects and taking software, let's say software orders, right? Not websites, so like apps that you're building for the clients. And the thing with this is that you can start hiring other developers below you who will start to do the projects, and you will be the guy searching and landing for the projects and then ensuring the quality of the software that you're building. That is more on the other spectrum, where you have the high risk but also high reward potentially, because if you manage to scale this well, you could be making like 7 figures instead of 6 figures as a developer. And the most right side of this, I would say, is the SaaS, so the softwares that you might build and make it scalable and sell it to a bunch of customers. But I think this is not something to worry about if you still didn't cross the 200, 300k salary as a developer. You need to have some good cash flow coming so that you can take the risk and start doing it on the side, and then maybe eventually you will go all in on that route. So yeah, I think most people will be interested in the full-time on-site or full-time remote or the contractor roles, maybe also to the freelancer, but definitely the other routes are great goals to have, but not for you if you're still like below 200k as a developer in terms of salary and you don't have the marketing, sales or other skills. I would highly recommend you to stick with the route like step by step. You might want to, let's say, skip to getting to entrepreneur or something else, but that's not something I would recommend if you still didn't reach your full potential as a developer.